I'm Sonni de Soto, and here's an excerpt of my fantasy novel Checking In, which is the first book of my House of Glass series, which is available for all $4 plus patrons on Patreon or as a PDF for $6.99 via PayPal Me. Links to that in the description below. The Elysium Hotel is not exactly your average B&B. Rowan Drury, cursed from birth and chased from his home by killers, awoke at the supernatural haven for the lost and lonely. But something dark is growing underneath the seemingly serene surface. The Elysium may look like an Eden safe from the troubles plaguing the borders past, but even protection comes at a price. And staying at this parasitic paradise costs nothing less than your soul. Rowan, with cursed powers he doesn't yet understand, can see the trap hidden beneath the hotel's flourishing beauty. But can he and the other guests escape before it's too late? Will they even want to? Or for those already damned, is a taste of heaven worth the loss of whatever's left of your soul? Cal reached out and grabbed Flax's arm. What the hell is happening here? Is something wrong with May? All of a sudden she's leaving. She did, didn't she? Rowan rushed up behind Calla. His mind began to not just wake up, but race. May's leaving? She can? How? Maybe there was a way back. Home. Lennon had said there wasn't, but if May was leaving, that meant Rowan could too. He pushed past Calla and stopped Flask. Why is she allowed to leave? Hey, Flax roared, swiveling so fast Rowan stumbled back into Calla. You have no idea what you're talking about, boy. Rowan's eyes focused in on the finger shoved millimeters from his face and all the directionless anger behind it just begging for an outlet. And in that moment, Rowan decided that the only time an honest apology seemed truly wrong was during those times when nothing seemed the better thing to say. We just want to know what's going on with May. Calla moved to stand between Rowan and Flax. Is she really leaving? Flax sighed and stepped back. Yes, ma'am. He turned to finish the last few stairs, just not the way anyone would ever want to. Is she... Rowan asked hesitantly as they followed the man. Dying? No. Flax shoved a hand through his dark hair. Not dying. She's... He took a deep breath before finishing. Checking out. He shivered. Rowan shook his head, confused. Checking out. What does that mean? She's disappearing. Flax shook his head too, still rushing down the hall. She's fading away, going faceless. Checking out. Faceless. Calla murmured, her brown eyes glazing over with understanding. The servants. Yeah. Flax said sardonically as he cocked his head and slowed. Never thought about where they came from, did you? He scoffed as Rowan and Calla looked over their shoulder at a faceless servant dusting the hallway vase. Rowan had never seen one of them up close before. He'd never taken the time to really look, figuring them no more interesting than the people his family hired to help about the castle, indispensable yet invisible. But at second sight, Rowan almost couldn't bear to look at the featureless figure, at the lack, that smooth, empty expanse of eerie blank was mesmeric, compelling you to stare when all you wanted to do was turn away. A blatant reminder of what should be there. Nose, lips, eyes, a face, a person. Whole and complete, but wasn't. Well, every hotel has its price. Can't get something for nothing, you know. Flax laughed humorously and began to walk again, while Rowan and Calla both shuddered and turned away from the servant to follow the other man. Folks could live here lifetimes and never want for a thing, but come time to settle that bill. Flax clucked his tongue. It costs nothing less than your soul, the very core of its guests, their being. That's what makes this place run. Calla stopped and gasped, covering her open mouth. Rowan laid a hand on her arm. So we're all going to end up like them? Flax just turned away with a shrug of his shoulders. That's not fair, he roared. Not all of us asked to be here. None of us did, Calla added. You wanted to come here. Flax's face split into a vicious smirk, curling his thin lips. A part of you wants to be here, or you would have never been brought. Something chased you to these doors, an abusive parent, a murder stalker, mind-bending grief. Flax fixed the other two with a hard stare. Don't kid yourself, children. You're complicit. You checked in of your own accord. Rowan had never been treated like this, as if he didn't even matter, as if nothing he had to say were important. Rowan hurriedly followed after the guy, huffing. So you're saying that it's May's fault, too? Rowan asked daringly. He pulled up short a bit when Flax whipped around, his expression livid. But he kept on, well, she's here, isn't she? She checked in same as we did. Is this fair to her? Rowan watched the fire behind Flax's eyes die and his shoulders slump. But instead of feeling better for taking the piss out of the Yank, Rowan wished he'd just shut his mouth. Sorry. Rowan winced, wishing he could sound more convincing. You're right, Flax said. No, Rowan insisted. I'm not. It was a stupid thing to say. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Maybe, Flax shrugged, but you're still right. We all came here to still life for a while, to make the world go away, even May. Why should we be upset when the world goes on without us? We wanted to forget, and in doing so, we're forgotten. Erased so completely that even the great cosmic consciousness can't remember. But we remember, Calla said. We know May. We're part of the whole collective who's it, and we remember. Flax scoffed. Some lost little soul stuck in the unused gray matter of the world thinks it knows anything at all. Rowan saw Calla flinch a bit. Flax shook his head dejectedly. No. She'll fade. She'll lose her memories, lose her mind, lose her... His voice gave out, unable or unwilling to state the final and most obvious loss each faceless faced. Everything that makes her May will disappear, leaving only a shell as anonymous and empty as the rest of the faceless. And it'll happen to you someday, he said, gazing at Calla. And you, he said, turning to Rowan. And to Flax himself. He didn't say it. It went without saying. And that, Rowan knew, was what scared and saddened Flax most. As much as losing May seemed to trouble him, it was his own approaching erasure, that creeping, unseen threat behind him that spurred his fears. It was a reasonable fear. The man would have to be inhuman for him not to be afraid. What if it didn't? What? What if it didn't have to happen? Rowan repeated. Yeah. Calla straightened excitedly. What if we could stop it? Whoa now. Flax tried to interject. You said she'll first lose her memories, then her mind, and then... Calla gulped. But what if we could stop it before then? And just how do you expect to do that? Flax asked skeptically. Rowan only wished he knew the answer to that question, as he and Calla stared at each other blankly. Well, Rowan started, not even sure whether he had an end in mind, much less where it would be. We haven't all the facts, have we? No, Calla exclaimed, clapping him hard on the back. No, we don't. She gave him several more successive congratulatory smacks. Ow. We need more facts, she continued excitedly. We'll follow her and record everything she does, right? Maybe if we can track this faceless thing, we can figure out how to stop it, yeah? Come on, she ordered as she began to rush down the hallway. Flax shook his head. You can't stop it, he called after her. No one can. He grunted, frustrated. It's been tried. Rowan looked at Flax, unsure of what to do. He sensed that this moment was a lot bigger than it seemed. It was a feeling he couldn't explain and never would have had to if he'd been home. For Drury, there were always signs. Rowan looked around for an omen to confirm his thoughts. He gazed out the window at the sun climbing high in the sky. It was a cloudless day, the blue of the heavens endless and beautiful. And there on the windowsill was a small bird with bright red feathers the same color as Rowan's own hair. One of its wings was broken, just a crooked, sad clump of feathers at its side. But there it was on the second floor window, pattering slowly onto the tree limb just outside the sill. The sad broken thing, against all odds, without thought to the consequences, was going home. A sign in the in-between. Rowan, tapping a finger to his own bandaged limb, screwed up his courage and took the first step down the hallway. "You'll never do it," Flax said. "Waste of time." "And if we do nothing?" Rowan wondered aloud. "What does that do?" Flax's lips thinned thoughtfully as he rubbed the stubble on his chin. He clucked his tongue and nodded. To read the rest, please head over to my Patreon at patreon.com/Sonni de Soto, where this story is available for all $4 plus patrons or as a PDF copy for $6.99 via PayPal Me. Check out the video's description for detail. And of course, for more from me, check out my Instagram at instagram.com/Sunny_D_Soto, or for a quick list of the latest things I'm working on, check out my Linktree at linktree/Sunny de Soto. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. FYI, I am not going to do the accents because that's just going to be bad for everyone all around. Slow down. This is the problem with grabbing random excerpts, is that if you're in the middle of it, I don't know who's talking. I'm already rushing.